Motor Speedway. They're lean, they're mean, they're 5 to 7 horses, a man and machine. They're 4 wide before they start to slip and slide. The Coast to Coast Racing League 350A Modifieds, Pro Late Models, and the 360 Sprint Cars.
So basically, I know you guys don't see the track. It's still this video. We'll bring up the iRacing room as soon as we can. I had some issues. I think maybe they set the last race up too many laps, and nobody told me. So I had hung around in there for a while, and now I'm on my way over to the new room. We'll have it up here in about a minute or two. Stick around.
It's time for another edition of RSN Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group on Rock Sports Network. Kiss on the champion. Trying to be a
bit of a hiatus, so let's get. Tonight when we were talking about it,
Get all the sounds working here with the sights. We're live on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. I'm Zach Chapman, a.k.a. Shaggy, and we are at the Port Royal Speedway. One of the best places to play in the clay like no other. That's kind of where I stole that line. I wish I could credit the man's name, but I am terrible with names. But the announcer up there, he is so eloquently coined that phrase, and this should be a good one. Here, you know, Dino mentioned last week, we're only going to big tracks this season, and I think, you know, that means we're on for some good hard racing. We're going to have, you know, a lot more slide jobs, I would say, than maybe normal. You know, it's not, you do want to keep your momentum up on the big tracks. You know, that's definitely a big part of it. But you're also carrying a lot more momentum. If you cut under someone, it kind of opens the door, allows you to do things maybe you couldn't do at Fairbury or Huset's. As the checkered flag waves, we get ready to go qualifying. My apologies for being so quiet here. I didn't have everything typed in that I would have liked due to hopping around servers. Kind of got sidetracked. And I just want to make sure everything looks good. And Heroes doesn't have a P in it, so that does not look good. Let's see who's out on the racetrack first. Let's see who's out there trying to shine. Looks like it might be Jacob Mossau in the 47. Let's find the man. Take a look at the ride he's got. Stars and stripes on the roof here. Going up top in 1 and 2 as close as you can without hitting that wall. If you touch the wall, you're going to lose your lap. So you're flirting when you're going up there. You don't want to mess up your lap. And boy, on exit, he got up there as well. 47 comes across the line, lap 1. And well, maybe he did tap the wall there because iRacing didn't like it. They're going to give Matt Barber Mr. Excitement here. Top of the charts with a 19.10. What can Matt Barber do second time around? Matt Barber does improve a little bit there by about 100th of a second. Maybe a little less, could come down to the thousandths. But Sam Bachman in the 007, he slithers his way to the front. Sam Akanda top of the charts, but not for long. The long-lost cousin to Preacher, Blake Chapman in the 20. He puts it up top. Let's go up to the flag stand. Excuse me, the announcer's booth. He's quicker through 1. Slower through 2. Blake Chapman not going to improve. Doesn't need to. For the time being, currently quick time. Let's see Kelly Wheeler. He's out here lap number 1. What's the 110 going to do? Rolls out of 4. Kelly Wheeler, green. Ran out of time in qualifying, I believe. Yep, he did. Well, no offense, Kelly. But Northeast here, we're getting a lot of heat. And I was worried I'd drop my connection. And I am much rather you didn't get your qualifying lap in than me lose my connection for this broadcast here as we get ready to take a look. Starting grid, heat race number 1, row 4 to the outside, the 313 of David Tormaski to the inside, the 44 of Eddie Mossau Jr. Row 3 to the top shelf, the 28 of Joe Mossau to the inside, the 187 of Rick Main. Row 2 to the outside, the 20 of the Preacher, Blake Chapman to the inside, the Magnum in the 57, Brian Lawson. Row 1 for heat race number 1, starting on the outside of the front row, the 513 of the Brewerton Beast, Jeff Barker, and starting on the pole, the 051 of Putt Putt, Clay Christopherson. don't believe this is one of the places where we can shorten the pace laps here, so we're going to go around twice. As we roll down the front stretch here in Port Royal, PA. At the Port Royal Speedway. They run some big, well, I shouldn't say, well, I mean, they are decent. I can't remember how much the Bob Weichert Memorial pays out here at the end of the year, but for the 410s, that is. But they, you know, they do a lot for racing. Have some big shows. They got kind of in with High Limit early. And, told the Outlaws where to go. I don't know if I have an opinion on it, but, you know, I do respect them standing up and wanting the good hard racing as we're about to see 6 laps of it. Heat race number 1, the green flag's high. She's set to fly. Let's go play in the clay at the Port Royal Speedway. But with a good run there on the bottom through 1 and 2, wasting no time at all. Let's zoom this thing out. You can see battle for third here. The Magnum trying to take a look under the Preacher, looking to 57. Now he goes under the Brewerton Beast, Jeff Barker. And boy, oh boy, there was a little contact there as Jeff Barker able to hold on from the 57, but now feeling the pressure from Blake as there's more contact. The Moose and possibly Rick Main make a little bump and run action going down the backstretch. Couldn't tell what happened between the two, but definitely a little contact that I'm sure neither one of them wanted here as we roll down the backstretch. And you know my deal, I hate doing it, but I'm going to have to turn down that camera a little bit here in warm-ups as Putt-Putt rolls around, cross flags in the air halfway. And actually, it'll be easier, truthfully, just to do it now, and I can stay here, not blow my eardrum out. And there we go, back normal. Who knows? Nothing happened as Putt-Putt rolls down the front stretch. Clean air for the 51, but for how long? Blake Chapman, he's reeled him in. He had to take around 2 race cars, but he's been able to do that. Now he's able to apply some pressure here, but he's running out of time. Only 1 lap to go. White flag waves for Clay Christopherson. Blake drives to the inside, tries to pull up even he can't. And as we go down the backstretch for the final time, Clay Christopherson drives it into 1. He sees the checkered flag displayed. He brings home heat race number 1, followed by the Preacher, the Brewerton Beast, the Magnum, the Real Deal, the Moose, David Tormasky, and Eddie Massal Jr. You know, Eddie, since you're the junior, you know, I automatically have to throw the family last name, you know, to the eldest. And I'm sorry, you may even be the oldest. You know, you may actually be, you know, Grandpa's son, maybe his uncle. But I'm only going off what I know here. So we're going to take a look, starting grid heat race number 2 to the inside of row 4, the 47 of Jacob Massau. Row 3 to the outside, the Desert Demon in the 161, Terry Landis. To the inside, the 055 of Mr. Wednesday Night, Brian Moore Sr. Row 2 to the outside, the 007 of Sam Bachman. To the inside, the 011 of Randall Dixon. Row 1 for heat race number 2 to the outside, the 218 of Superman, Kurt Schatzer. And starting on the pole, the driver of the 32, the Ant-Man, Anthony Morano. Like I say here, we'll do the extra pace lap. Gives these guys a little bit of time. No rush, you know, get some heat in these motors, get them ready to go. I'm not sure if Trevor's still out there watching, but I see you in the chat box there. What's going on, Trevor? Roll through 1 and 2. Anthony Morano on the bottom. Superman up top. We'll have to see if he brought the cape here tonight. Not going to be easy to work that outside. He might need it. You know, we had to restart the race. Too many laps, so didn't get a lot of age on the track in practice, which means going to have a lot of grip here on the bottom to start. We'll see when the transition happens. We will see guys go to the top a little later, but your guess is as good as mine. As the green flag's high, it's ready to fly. 6 laps to play in the clay. Heat race number 2 is underway. Sam Bachman trying to work to the inside of Superman. Kurt Schatzer as there's a battle for 5th. Terry Landis feels the pressure for 4th, looking to the outside of the 011 of Randall Dixon. Randall Dixon started 3rd, rough start, falling back for 4th. Just trying to get it back together here. We'll have to see what Randall Dixon can do as there's a battle for the lead. Kurt Schatzer, he took the cape off. He's going downstairs. He's fishing in the basement. Side by side coming down the front stretch. Sammy B here trying to sling his way to the outside, make this thing a 3-car battle. What can he do? Anthony Morano holding steady on the outside as we enter 3. Superman with a slide top and finishing up with contact between him and the 007 of Sam Bachman. They all live to race another day, but boy, oh boy, they came to play. Randall Dixon on the inside now with Anaconda. Trying to shop for P3, but Brian Moore Sr. sticks his nose down low, and man, oh man. Your guess is as good as mine here, 2nd through 4th, but it looks like the Ant-Man all by himself. Having it his way here as we go trackside. White flag waves, final lap to play. Anthony Morano sends it in. You can see the business going on behind him. As Randall Dixon, your 4th and final transfer. But look at those ones. 3 wide. Jacob Rossow gets them both through 1 and 2. But final time around, checkered flag waves. Anthony Morano wins heat race number 2, followed by Superman, the Sam Akonda, Randall Dixon, the Moose, Terry Landis, and Mr. Wednesday Night rounds out heat race number 2. Yeah, it might be, I see that. It might be a choo-choo for a little bit, but I think it'll change up here, maybe with 10 to go. I know that's a while to wait, but we'll see some moves happen. Heat race number 3, final heat of your 358s here for the evening. All of this, of course, sponsored by the one and only Flatline Racing Bodies. Couldn't do any of the Hometown Heroes stuff without Flatline Racing Bodies. Thank you, boys, over there in, I believe, Iowa. Right? Yeah, Iowa. Okay, I wish I could remember the town off the top of my head. But definitely Iowa. Man, you guys have become such a huge part of Coast to Coast. Couldn't do this stuff without you. The 110 of Kelly Wheeler rounds out the field on the inside of row 4. Row 3 to the outside. The 122 of Brian Dickens to the inside. The 639 of Dylan Kinsey. Row 2 to the outside. Mr. Excitement Matt Barber to the inside. The 89 of Mason Hine. Row 1 for heat race number 3. Winner starts on the inside of row 2 to the outside. The 143 of Scott Zeneker. And starting on the pole, the 7 of Bob DeGood. Of course, it would go great. Heat race 1 and heat race 2. We'll hit that refresh button for you guys. I can handle it. I don't think I need it. As we roll into 3 and 4 for the final time, Bob DeGood tries to take that 7 machine and light the fuse as we roll out of 4. The green flag is high. It's ready to fly. Bob DeGood drops the hammer. We're underway. 6 laps to play in heat race number 3. Not able to slide up in front of the 143, and here comes Mr. Excitement, living up to the name here. Up to third already, battle on for second. He tries to stick it on the bottom. What kind of run can he get here? Scott Zeneker on the outside of the 143. They battle side by side. Zeneker going to drive him in low into 1. Barber finds the grip down low in the center at 2, but just doesn't have the steam coming off. And, man, unless he gets those shoulders out, kind of widens up, moves that 143 up the hill. It is going to be tough here for Mr. Excitement to complete this thing as you see falls in line. No choice there for Matt Barber. Matt driving it right back to the outside here through 3. That's really one of the best battles on the track, other than Mason Hine trying to hold off the 122 here. Brian Dickens, a little bit of contact. Brian maybe drives it in a little deep. Mason going to move up the racetrack. He holds him off for now. But Kelly Wheeler, he checks one off. He gets around that 122. And as we roll around this time, 2 laps to play. Bob DeGood setting the pace here at the Port Royal Speedway. This is the view off the rear end of the 7 here. It's got Scott Zeneker trying to reel him in, but battle on behind. You can see Matt Barber to the inside. Side by side, they do bump. Not enough, though, and Matt Barber not able to get it done here, but the battle still wages now. But Dylan Kinsey, he's trying to pick up the scraps here. Final time into 3. Let's try to get a big boy view of it. Watch it all play out as the checkered flag waves. Bob DeGood wins heat race number 3, followed by Scott Zeneker, Matt Barber, Dylan Kinsey, Kelly Wheeler, Mason Hine, and Brian Dickens. Now, you know the drill. Sometimes I break the rules here and don't go to commercial break. Another one of those times I will mute my mic so I can curse and be mad at my cameras. But you'll see the screen up. I got to turn some things down. Oh, man. You know, sometimes I do UMPs here. I really should just be smart and say, hey, this is your save file for the small blocks, big blocks. Then you have a UMP save. Then you have a sprint car save. But I like to make it difficult on myself, so stick around. And that's how you clean up a mess, ladies and gentlemen. Blake Chapman at the top of the charts. And now, because I have that at a respectable volume, I may have to play around with myself. If I'm yelling too loud or sound way louder than it, just yell it in the chat box at me. No problem. Adjusting myself one more time here. Blake rolling around. Let's do our best here. Let's try to give you a view of what it looks like right now. So he's on the bottom. Seems like that's where a lot of guys are going. So you heard the calls for the train. We'll have to see. Blake, one of those guys, no matter where, likes to go on the bottom. Let's see what Anthony's doing. Gonna run the middle a little bit, try to cut under. I think that means he likes the bottom. Just trying to find a way around Randall Dixon. Oh, never mind. Rips the top in 1 and 2, so we might see a cushion build up on the outside right now. Look at that big run there from the Ant-Man, Anthony Morano. So that could be something to remember here when we go out here and grid up and it's time to play around. And speaking of, it is that time to go play around as our Flatline Racing Bodies 358 modified feature is set to roll off. Let's go to the tail end of the field here. Rounding out the field, row 11 to the top shelf, the 44 of Eddie Mossau Jr. to the inside, the 122 of Brian Dickens. Row 10 to the outside, the 055 of Mr. Wednesday Night, Brian Moore Sr. My apologies, that side was loud. To the inside, the 313 of David Tormaski. Row 9 to the outside, the 89 of Mason. Hit him with the hind. To the inside, the 161 of the Desert Demon, Terry Landis. Row 8 to the outside, the 28 of Joe Mossau. To the inside, the 110 of Kelly Wheeler. Row 7 to the outside, the 47 of Jacob Mossau. To the inside, the 187 of the real deal, Rick Main. Row 6 to the outside, the 639 of Dylan Kinsey. To the inside, the 011 of Randall Dixon. Row 5 to the outside, the 57 of the Magnum, Brian Lawson. To the inside, the 16 of Mr. Excitement, Matt Barber. Row 4 to the outside, the 007 of the Samuel Bachman, the Sam Akonda. To the inside, the 513 of the Brewerton Beast, Jeffrey Barker. Row 3 to the outside, the 143 of Scott Zeneker. To the inside, the 218 of Superman, Kurt Schatzer. Row 2 to the outside, the 20 of the Salesman, Blake Chapman. To the inside, the 7 of Bob DeGood. Row 1 for your Flatline Racing Body 358 modified feature. To the outside, the 32 of the Magic Ant-Man, Anthony Morano. And starting on the pole, the 051 of Putt Putt, Clay Christopherson. Ooh, now, I'm not sure if we're supposed to do 20 laps or 25. I think normally these things were 25, but hey, this thing's set for 20. So it's time to go. It's time to play. Green flag is high. It's set to fly. 20 laps to play in the clay at the Port Royal Speedway. We're underway. Clay Christopherson trying to get a run here off the bottom of 2. Can't do it. Anthony Morano just going to swing by on the outside. But Bob DeGood goes around. Caution number 1 about set the wave. He 360s, keeps going. But there's got to be some damage there on that 7. I wonder if it's giving him his spots back. It looks like it is. Bob DeGood, Merry Christmas here for the 7. So let's see what happened here. I wonder if this was the caution. Oh, okay, so that's what brought out the caution. Was Rick Main involved with this? Yes, he was. That's him in that 189. Not used to him in that color. So that's the caution. Rick is holding his line, but there's just, he didn't realize there's 3 wide above him. And I mean, he's coming down because he has to. So that's as big of a racing incident as, it's lap 1, people trying to fill gaps, get free spots. But that is a huge saver. there for the 7 of Bob to Good. Let's see, we got time. Port Royal Speedway. Takes a little bit. Now, it looks like Scott Zeneker just drives in there, gets in the back of the 7. He does. And, man, Bob the Good, fortunate enough that the caution flag flew because, man, a good effort. And Bob the Good's heat race had him start 3rd. Would have made it all for naught. Definitely not what you want to have happen to you here. Especially at Port Royal when you've seen the comments, you know, it can be a train sometimes. So you don't want to be, you know, left at the station here when the train leaves. And the further back you are, bigger chance of that happening. So you just got to play smart. Use your head. Keep yourself in the game. You see the pace car pull off. We're going to park our behinds here at the flag stand, and we'll have 17 laps to play here, possibly 16. May have been on lap 17, but the green flag waves back underway. The teammates drop the hammer. And that's a good start there. They want to control that, you know. You two fall in line here. It's going to be much tougher for Blake Chapman or Bob the Good to work around 2 cars, you know. Link them together, make them one here. As Clay Christopherson holding off the gang. Anthony Morano right behind Bob the Good, working the inside here, trying to make some noise in that 7th machine. As Kurt Schatzer, he gets put up in the wall going down the backstretch. He saves it there, 4 wide behind. Look at the action. Brian Lawson in it. Look at that red 57. The Magnum man, he is using it up here tonight. No choice to, sandwiched in the middle, 4 wide. They're still beating and banging in front of him. That's Kurt Schatzer, and I believe Mr. Excitement, Matt Barber. It is the Canadian here, trying to rip to the outside. They're still beating Superman. Oh, boy. Caution flag waves here at Port Royal for the 2nd time. And, man, oh, man. Definitely not what you want to see. But it's kind of a product of what you do want to see, the 3 and 4 wide. You know, this place so wide, so much room. But very misleading because you all want to get to the same spot coming off the corner. Let's go up top here, Chapman Racing drone camera. As you could see, Sam got into the back of the 218, but started a little earlier. You can see that's Matt Barber, kind of gets hip checked there by the 143 of, I believe that's Scott Zeneker. Dickens involved in that as well. That is a tough one here. Lots of good cars involved in that one, and well, apparently Bob the Good had P2 at the line, so heck of a run going here for the 7 of Bob the Good. Welcome to the Speed Palace, Bob. This guy is putting it on here. You know, with not getting a lot of practice time in this session, it's got to kind of, you know, change the game a little bit. You're not used to maybe the track having so much grip at this point. It's going to help other guys hurt others. I always kind of feel like I'm one of the ones who get hurt by that. When it really slicks over, I feel like I maybe am always driving a little timid, even on the tacky track, so when it slicks off, that kind of pays off a little bit. I've got a little extra tire left, and well, I've just been driving the way you need to drive in the slick the whole race. Apparently, I always find out. It's got its benefits. We'll have to see here. We're going to have 15 laps to go here There's Clay. 32 of Anthony Morano. Bob DeGood can't throw a slider. Got some defense. Anthony Morano getting some help there from putt-putt. Clay Christopherson didn't go up to the top shelf. Didn't leave room for the slider. Kind of shut that door there on the 7 of Bob DeGood. But, oh, they're beating and banging. Scott Seneker hard into the wall. Oh, boy. Able to keep going. I don't know for how long. Not for long here. Pulls Rick Mayne into it. No caution. We're going to play the sit in 1 and 2 till we get the caution. And well, we got a winner. We got the caution here. Let's go back. Let's see how it started. Let's see. Just pushes up the racetrack. I mean, you know, he's loose there. He's trying to come back down. He got left enough room, I think. You got to think the 6, or that's Barber, I believe. You got to think he left him enough room, I think. We get into the inside wall here. We get rolling and maybe just gassed it up there through the slick. Gets in front of Rick Mayne. There's no caution. Rick Mayne goes. See him turning around, knows the leaders are coming, but we wait until right in front of the leaders there. Caution flag flies, and for I believe the 3rd time here at the Port Royal Speedway. And Anthony Morano was able to get by Clay Christopherson somehow while all that was going on. Let's see here. Should be able to backtrack this. So Clay just running the bottom here. Anthony, yep, gets the run. Going into 3. Most likely just carries the steam off of 4 here. He does. And takes it back at the line. So, or I shouldn't say takes it back. Takes it at the line for the first time. And now the Ant-Man leads the way. We roll down the backstretch here for the final time. Steve King Foundation pace car pulls off. And Anthony Morano set to lead the field back to the green flag. 11 laps to go, 9 in the books. Let's watch the Ant-Man drop the hammer. Well, he's going to do it late. Going to do it late. Won't let me catch it on that set of cameras. We're underway. It's time to play. 11 laps to go. Ten laps to go here at the Port Royal Speedway. 9 this time by. Because I know that's a cheap move to sit there and throw it trackside, not talk. But boy, man, something about being a kid growing up in the 90s, 2000s when NASCAR would do crank it up. I absolutely love that, man. It gets the blood flowing here as Bob DeGood trying to hold off here, trying to stay in P4. But I don't know, Dylan Kinsey, man, he got to run on the outside. He's going to take it over. Bob now going to have to try to squirm his way to the outside. If he wants to shut the door on Randall Dixon, he's able to do just that. Gets up top, holds off Randall. Now Kelly Wheeler and Randall are fighting side by side. But Wheeler completes the pass. And you take a look back here through the field. Brian Dickens had a rough heat race. Started 21st, almost in the top 10, sitting 11th here. This is the Dirt Track Bank 122 as you see the 7 of Bob DeGood in the outside wall. May have caught the wall again going down the front stretch as Sam Bachman, but we saw that man spin out, go to the back of the field. Where did the Sam Bachman come from? Slithering his way back into this race here as we're battling for second. Look at Blake Chapman trying to take a peek here under putt-putt into 51. Let's go trackside one more time. Bob DeGood trying to swing it in here under Randall Dixon. Look at Sam Bachman on the high side, 3 wide. They make contact going down the backstretch. Bob DeGood, Randall Dixon, door to door. Bob trying to get those elbows out, but there's just not enough room. He's got to go back down to the bottom. Sam Bachman waves. He gets a boat. And now Sam Bachman sniffing for that top 5 here, currently sitting 6th. But Kelly Wheeler, another man, also up 10 spots. Started 15th. Up to 5th, Kelly Wheeler trying to hold on to the battle on for 3rd, possibly 2nd. Dylan Kinsey tries the big time move, swings the hammer on the bottom. Not going to be able to do it. As we go to the starter stand, Blake Chapman, he's going to go down and protect. Anthony Morano off of 4. He brings home your Flatline Racing Bodies 315 Moto 5 feature at the Port Royal Speedway. Followed by Clay Christopherson, the Preacher, Blake Chapman, Dylan Kinsey, 4th, and Kelly Wheeler with a great run up 10 spots. Parks that thing last spot inside the top 5. Honorable mention there for that 6th place finisher, Sam Bachman. Spun around, drove it back up through the field. And also Brian Dickens up 11 spots, did get it in the top 10. So congratulations. That is a great run here, and man, you know, way to finish off a race that was kind of nasty there for a little bit. As you see, I didn't realize I had an up close. There we go. That's a little better. See Anthony Morano park it up top, and we're going to give these guys a minute or two to head up to the booth. And we'll try to get a word here with our 3rd place finisher of Blake Chapman. And well, actually, before we pull Blake Chapman up, we're going to, I was on push to talk from working with a couple of people last night, so we'll turn myself off push to talk. We'll pull Blake up here, try to get a word with him. Blake, man, Shaggy in the booth, brother. How you feeling? That it was a tough race, you know, start inside the top 5, but man, it just seems difficult to pass here tonight.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was pretty racy at the start. I think Bob showed us that he was definitely making something work on that bottom. And, you know, I thought it was going to be top all the way around the way it felt in the warm up. But like I said, Bob was making it work down there. So, other guys tried it too. But ultimately, I stuck with the top. I figured that was going to be the fast way around most of the race, and it was. And like you said, it was pretty tough to pass. 1 and 2 felt really, really good up top, and 3 and 4 kind of moved down around that middle line. I didn't really like how the top ran, and especially in turn 3, there was a little hole there that would make the car really tight getting in sometimes. So, yeah, we just found that middle line, ran that pretty good too, and I felt like we were pretty even there with Clay at the end, and Dylan was behind us. I felt like he was pretty even with us too. So, overall, it was pretty tough racing, but clean racing, which is what you like to see.
Yeah, man, and you know the name of the game. When we kind of reset the room, you don't really know where the track state's going to be at, but do you think it's going to be somewhat similar here to this 360s, you know, due to the fact that that'll be another one where you guys don't get a lot of practice time? So do you think maybe running this track will help you out a little bit with the sprint cars to kind of see how it's going to age tonight?
Well, it could. Time will tell. I think there'll definitely be a top line. by the time the feature rolls around in the 360s, and that bottom could be there too. We see some really good two-lane racing on this track, so hopefully that's what we get. I don't expect the middle to be there, but that could be there too. So, depending on the car count, how long warm-ups run, we'll have to wait and see how slick it gets.
Well, man, you and Kelly, you had a fun battle to the line there, trying to battle with Clay. It was quite the show to watch there coming down. Great finish there with the P3, Blake. You got anybody you want to thank, brother?
Yeah, I got to thank the family for watching. Got to thank all the guys on at KSR, especially Terry for running with me tonight. I got to thank Preston at Epsilon Sprint Wraps and Andy at AJ Custom Creations. Got to thank Flatline Racing Bodies for sponsoring this division. Got to thank Steve at Steve's Custom Golf Clubs and Mauer Farm Management. And of course, I got to thank Galen's Gourmet Popcorn. They got some of the best stuff out there. You can check it out for yourself if you head over to their website. Don't forget to use code CART, that's CART at checkout for 15% off some of their very delicious popcorn. And I got to thank everyone that puts this league on, and you for doing the broadcast, Shaggy.
Hey, side note, I'm probably going to talk to you here after the 360s, but just in case, I wanted to do a little digging. When are we going to run that car in real life again here, Blake?
Not this weekend. No racing this weekend. Next weekend, hopefully. Hopefully, never know. Hopefully the rain stays away, and we'll have the car back out there.
Well, hey, man, go get them. Have fun. Enjoy the heck out of it, man. You never know how long it's going to last. So enjoy it, man. Go have fun.
Thanks, Shaggy.
Blake Chapman bringing home the P3. Now we're going to bring up the man who started first, but Clay, just seemed like you were committed to that bottom, man. And right when Anthony went up top, it started to pick up, and you were just kind of caught out of line there. I know you don't want to shut the door on a teammate, but does it sting losing one when you're out front?
Not really. I have no idea what I'm doing. I just got lucky in the qualifying here. I race this maybe 2 or 3 times a year, and I never remember the actual line, and I can't run the top, if you would believe that. I usually stick to the bottom, and this track has such a weird bottom with fixed setups. They were figuring out, but I still really couldn't. And at that point, I just held on behind Murano because didn't really want to experiment because you can lose so much so quick at this track if you experiment wrong one time and you'll lose half a track.
No, that being said, I'm watching these closing laps here as they kind of inch closer to you. And for the majority of the race, you're close enough to Anthony that they can't really throw a slide job on you. You know what I mean? If they do that, they're going to go up there and collect Anthony. But as he started to pull away from you a little bit, were you kind of worried about the guys behind you? Were you expecting a late race slider?
Oh yeah, I was waiting for it just whenever. That's why I just kept running the top. I'm like, it's gonna happen whenever, and either I'm gonna have to chop down or really slow up. And I was kind of ready for it, mainly coming into three each time because three I could not get off that damn wall. Every time I'd hit the little bump coming into three and upset the car, and it just barely tapped it, and it wasn't beneficial, I'll tell you that.
No, and well, it kind of all depends. But yeah, in these, I can tell you, you don't have that fender. You got to watch out getting these things in the wall, especially, how finicky they are with braking stuff now. But man, you're able to hold off the charge here, and you better give a little bit of a thank you there to Dylan because I think he may have saved you P2. He started putting some pressure on Blake there those last couple of laps. So that was maybe the best defense was a good offense from Dylan. But hey, man, hell of a P2. Congratulations on the FTM 1-2. Who you want to thank?
You guys for putting this on, all the boys at FTM and Swad Speed Shop for 358 and big block sets.
Hey, hell of a run, man. Can't wait to talk to you again. You going to screw around with the sprint cars at all here next?
No, I think I'm going to call her a night. Me and the wife bought the game Peak, so we're going to try that.
Oh, okay, man. Have fun. Happy wife, happy life. Behave yourself, Clay.
Thank you, sir.
Clay Christopherson bringing home P2. And now, you know the drill. I'm going to be quiet.
Quick time!
Anthony Murano parking it on the top spot. And, well, Anthony, it's one of those things where I think drivers were kind of surprised if Blake seemed like it anyway in the beginning when the bottom was working a little bit. But you hung true to that outside. Did you just know it was going to come in, and that's where you wanted to be here in the closing laps?
Yeah, it was a little surprising there. Didn't expect the bottom to have that much grip early there, but Yeah, and eventually this track always goes to the top, so it's just a matter of time. Just had to wait it out for it, and eventually got there, ran the middle few laps. It was pretty good, and then all of a sudden it wasn't so good, and went back to the top in 1 and 2, and was able to get back away from Clay and Blake there, and just run my own little race and hit my marks and try to stay out of the wall as best I could with the right rear, and just keep it going and ride along and come home and get to talk to you a little bit.
Now I know, Anthony. When you're out front, you want to kind of drive off. You want to extend that lead if you can. But are you at all thinking? Because it seemed like there for a little bit. I mean, you were almost staying close enough to Clay, kind of to use him. Hey, nobody's going to be able to slide around this 51. We can kind of two-man tandem this thing. But then in the closing, 6, 7 laps, you kind of strutted the feathers here, pulled away a little bit. But were you kind of using that at all in the beginning? Or were you just kind of, keeping the field on the leash there?
Actually, about 8 to go or so, I turned my right front brake on, and the car was a little bit better, so I was able to really run up closer to the fence and turn left more than turn right. So I was able to keep the car straighter and carry a little bit more momentum. So I think that's what helped out get that gap there between me and Clay.
Yeah, man, I definitely that makes a lot of sense now because, like I say, I kind of thought you were just stealing his nickname from him, just putting it around there, kind of keeping the field at bay, and then, man, well, I guess it's that right front brake, but yeah, dude, you figured it out, you turned it on. This thing got real fast at the end. Congratulations on a big win, Anthony. Who you want to thank, my man?
Kind of thank my wife Sherry, the boys at FTM, Dean Superder Car, Swan Speed Shop, High Mom Lens, DJ, Sim Shop, Vertex Graphics, Expert Installation, Casper Flagstone, Shaggy TV, Flatline Racing Bodies, Shaggy for doing the broadcast, and everyone here at Coast to Coast.
Hey, man, you gonna mess around with the sprint cars at all, or are you gonna call it a night?
No, I'm sitting. Give it a whirl.
All right, man. Good luck, Anthony. I'll be rooting for you, brother.
Thanks a lot, buddy.
And once I find Discord, Anthony, I'll kick you out. There we go. Anthony Morano wins your Flatline Racing Bodies 358 modified feature. Stick around. We'll be right back with your 360 sprint cars here at the Port Royal Speedway next on the Coast to Coast Racing Network.
It's time for another edition of RSN Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group on Rock Sports Network. Kiss on the champion. Trying to be a
Bit of a hiatus, so let's get. Tonight we'll be talking about it.
outpouring of love was amazing. These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized, no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive, so having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
I was involved in a pretty gnarly sprint car crash. Found out my brain was swelling and bleeding. Pelvic bone was broken. I had 2 cracked vertebrae on my back, and I was in the ICU a little over a week. The Steve King Foundation reached out to my parents. We received a donation from them. Immediately they started me on what's called neurofeedback, and insurance did not cover the neurofeedback appointments. So we received another donation from the Steve King Foundation. It really helped a lot, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to the Steve King Foundation for everything that they have done for me. This last Sunday, I got to turn laps in my modified here. That was my first laps back in a race car since the accident, and I truly believe that if it wasn't for the Steve King Foundation, I wouldn't be able to do that or be where I'm at today.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
We are back live on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Quiet practice session. Let's see if we can. It's another quiet one. Bob the Good, the only one on the racetrack over there. Terry Landis, the only one on the racetrack over here. So, final guys getting some track time in. Only 15 guys in this session here. So, not too sure if we'll possibly get an 8 and a 7 for the heat races. It would be 3 5s. I would think an 8 and a 7. Let's see here as you see Terry Landis roll around. Let's find that 7, 8, 9, a Cale Bixler. We've got Cale's dad's autograph. You know, if Cale would like to send me his autograph too, so I could have a father-son autograph collection, that would be pretty cool, Cale. You know, I'm not trying to farm for free autographs, but I am trying to farm for free autographs. As Brian Lawson rolling around here, he's got that 57 machine. I always want to call him the 9. You know, that's what he had for a while. Not anymore. New man, changed man, checkered flag waves. And we're going to go out here and put in some fast times at the Port Royal Speedway. Let's see who pulls out on the racetrack first. Looking like it is going to be, that's 7, 8, 9. Of Cale Bixler. Let's see what Cale Bixler does. Going to try to get a full head of steam. Goes to the top here through 3 and 4. You need to do that. Need to be coming like a bat out of hell here. Garnering as much speed at that start-finish line as you can. Right back to the top. He gets in the outside wall. He's going to reset here. I would possibly think, nope. Okay, going to stay out there, but this lap not going to count. So let's hop over. Let's take a look. Let's see Brian Moore Sr. He comes across the line. He'll put in your first time with a 16:09 for Mr. Wednesday Night, but the real deal, Rick Main. Had it for a moment, but Anthony Morano reached up there and grabbed it to 32's. Got it for the moment. But what does Blake Chapman do as he comes across the line? P3 here for the salesman, or excuse me, the preacher. Blake Chapman throwing in a prayer. Final time through 3 and 4. Can he find the grip downstairs? Slower through 1, slower through 2. Blake Chapman gonna stay P3. And the Ant-Man Anthony Morano is your quick time here so far at the Port Royal Speedway. Is Terry Landis coming out He just came out of pit road, so this lap will not count for Terry. This is his up to speed lap. I'm interested to see. You can see I'll change it to time. Terry Landis is going to get 1 lap in. No mistakes here. He's got to be perfect. You're going to get 1 lap in. You got 15 seconds left. As Kelly Wheeler comes across P6. Where's Terry Landis going to go? The Desert Demon knocks Wheeler back a spot. He's going to move him up, or he moves on up to 5th here. As he's going to run out of time. You see it go to white. Everyone disappear. We do have 16 cars now. The Sam Akonda, Sam Bachman registered just in time, and that's going to give us 2 heat races, 8 apiece. Let's take a look at that Flatline Racing Bodies 360 sprint car, heat number 1 starting lineup. Row 4 to the outside, the 007 of the Sam Akonda, Sam Bachman to the inside, the 7 of Bob DeGood. Row 3 to the outside, the 89 of Mason Hine to the inside, the 187 of the real deal, Rick Mayne. Row 2 to the outside, the 32 of the Magic Ant-Man, Anthony Morano to the inside, the 789 of Cale Bixler. Row 1 for heat race number 1. Winner starts on the pole for tonight's Flatline Racing Bodies sprint car feature. To the outside, the 161 of the Desert Demon, Terry Landison. Starting on the pole, the 110 of Kelly Wheeler. As we get ready to go head around here, I get ready to look at why my button isn't working. And then when it does work, well, we'll refresh it. You know the drill by now. Just happy it worked. I said happy it worked. It stayed blank there for a while. I had a minor panic attack, but you know, we're all good. Terry would have hooked me up with some of that Jeter product. I would have been all right anyways. As we roll around, 6 laps to play. Heat race number 1 almost set to get underway as we roll down the backstretch. For the final time, Kelly Wheeler set to light the fires and kick the tires, as they say. We go up to the flag stand. The green flag is high. It's ready to fly. 6 laps to play in the clay at the Port Royal Speedway. Heat race number 1 is underway. Terry Landis trying to come like a train off that top shelf. He does. Welcome to the lead, the Desert Demon. But here comes your quick time. Your pole winner, Anthony Morano, 4th to 2nd. He's trying to make a move here. Rick Mayne as well. The real deal, living up to the name. Flexing his muscles here. Getting to the outside, trying to make this a 3-car battle for the lead. Anthony Morano rips the top shelf through 3 and 4. Can he get enough momentum to counter down? Maybe think about the slide job into 1. Here we go. Slide job. Anthony Morano to the lead. Oh, Terry Landis cuts a rug underneath. Here comes Rick Mayne. 3 cars. What are we going to do? Rick Mayne gets in inches in front of Terry Landis there, as you saw coming off before. Terry now at the back end of this train, as he possibly has the best view in the house here. Rick Mayne looking to the bottom, battle for the lead, slide job. Anthony Morano comes back underneath. 2 laps to play, 2 sticks in the air. Rick Mayne trying to counter off the 2 here. Big boy run, he's got the work boots on. Slide job into 3. He's gonna go up there, he's gonna park it. Anthony Morano cuts back underneath. He's got the lead, white flag in the air, 1 to go. Final time around the Port Royal Speedway as Anthony Morano kisses the wall. Rick Mayne follows him in, tries to cut underneath. But as we come to the line, checkered flag waves, not gonna do it. Anthony Morano holds on to win heat race number 1, followed by Rick Mayne, Terry Landis, Kelly Wheeler, Cale Bixler, Sam Bachman, Bob DeGood, and Mason Hine. As we get ready, we'll take a look. Starting grid, heat race. Number 2, second and final heat race here this evening. As you know, only doing 2 broadcasted races here this season on Hometown Heroes. Row 4 to the outside, the 313 of David Tormowski. To the inside, the 513 of the Brewerton Beast, Jeff Barker. Row 3 to the top shelf, the 055 of Mr. Wednesday Night, Brian Moore Sr. To the inside, the 57 of the Magnum, Brian Lawson. Row 2 to the outside, the 56 of Randy Shreves. To the inside, the Preacher in the 20, Blake Chapman. Row 1 for your second and final heat race. To the outside, the 639 of Dylan Kinsey. And starting on the pole, the 75 of the Mare, Steve Bixler. We'll roll around here one more time. Steve Bixler set to bring the field to the green flag. No David Tormowski here. So we only have 7 guys making the call for heat race number 2. Everybody was making the show anyway, but maybe helps Jeff Barker there inside all by himself. He's got a clear mind when we get set to roll here. See the 513 bringing up the tail end as we get set to go up to the flag stand. The green flag is set to wave once again here at the Port Royal Speedway. Your Flatline Racing Bodies heat race number 2. 6 laps to play in the clay. The green flag waves. We're underway. Dylan Kinsey trying to use that playbook here. Heat race number 1, get right to the outside, big run. He does. The Mare going to protect the bottom. He slides up on the exit of 4. Loses the rear end a little bit. They make contact. Dylan Kinsey to the lead. Randy Shreves now battling here for P2. What can Randy Shreves do in the 56? The answer's not a lot, because Blake Chapman gets around him on the top shelf. The Preacher, welcome to the top 3. What can Blake Chapman do? Here's, you see that big bump there on the entrance of 1, really jarring all the cars around here tonight. Blake got to find a way around the Mare here in the 75 if he wants to go hunt in the 639. Steve Bixler going to lead with Cisco. Get him, kid. Maybe I'll fall back in line when you get around, but go to town. 3 to play. Blake Chapman up to P2. Bixler tries to come back up in front of Shreves. Shreves and him make a little contact. Shreves has to check up Brian Moore Sr. now, trying to pick up the scraps here. Cue the jaw music, blood in the water. The 55 slide out the board. All this going on while out front, Dylan Kinsey's set to see that white flag wave. But Blake Chapman's close. I don't know if he's close enough. We got about a half mile here left to play. What are we going to do? We roll the top through 3 and 4. Dylan Kinsey looks all clear. Checkered flag waves. He reaches up. He grabs it. He wins heat race number 2, followed by the Preacher, the Mare, Randy Shreves, Mr. Wednesday Night, Magnum, and the Brewerton Beast rounds out the field. We're right back on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Better play one of these videos here before I get in trouble. are back live on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. A little over 20 seconds to go. Well, it's game time here at way 15 cars. Should be taking the 15 cars. Should be taking the green flag here tonight. Maybe 16. Dave still, I would assume it's a 15 car play date here. The 15 car play date here. At the Port Royal Speedway, and it should be a good one. There's at the Port Royal Speedway, and it should be a good one. There's you see a little bit of carnage here to close out. Anthony Morano going to have to go carnage here to close out. Anthony Morano going to have to go to the backup car here. As we take a look at our starting feature lineup, Flatline Racing Bodies feature lineup, excuse me. Row 8 to the outside, the 313 of David Tormoski. To the inside, the 89 of Mason Hyde. Row 7 to the outside, the 513 of the Brewerton Beast, Jeff Barker. To the inside, the 7 of Bob DeGood. Row 6 to the outside, the 57 of the Magnum, Brian Lawson. To the inside, the Sam Akonda, the 007 of Sam Bachman. Row 5 to the outside, the 055 of Mr. Wednesday Night, Brian Moore. Inside, the 789 of Cale Bixler. Row 4 to the outside, the 56 of Randy Shreves. To the inside, the 110 of Kelly Wheeler. Row 3 to the outside, the 75 of the Mayor, Steve Bixler. To the inside, the 161 of the Desert Demon, Terry Landis. Row 2 to the outside, the 20 of the Preacher, Blake Chapman. To the inside, the 187 of the Real Deal, Rick. Flatline Racing 358 modified feature at the Port Royal Speedway. To the outside, the Royal Speedway. To the outside, the 639. Starting on the pole, the 32 of the Magic Ant-Man, Anthony Morano. As the Steve King Foundation pace car pulls off, we get set to go play 25 laps at the Port Royal Speedway. Anthony Morano rolls out a 4. He sees the green flag. Boy, is she high. Looks like she's ready to fly. 25 laps to play in the clay at the Port Royal Speedway. We're underway. Anthony with a good run on the bottom there through 1 and 2. Can he get up and shut the door in front of his teammate? He can. But Dylan Kinsey with a big boy run here. Slide job for the lead. Dylan Kinsey wasted no time at all throwing hammers. Who's got the line to the 32 as he throws a little bit of a slide job. Gonna catch that cushion coming off at 2. Can Dylan Kinsey ring the bell one more time? He can. Anthony Morano too far out front. Not enough pressure on that leash. And Dylan Kinsey was holding firm here. But Blake Chapman to the bottom through 1 and 2. Mr. Nifty pulling out the magic tricks here. Finding grip where nobody can. And now he goes right back up to the top. Didn't want to try 3 and 4. Rick Main thinking about giving it a go there, though, down on the bottom as we flip the wrong camera. Back to Blake. You can kind of see a little bit of a gap developing. Let's check. Man, he's wondering, what do I got to do to go catch the Ant-Man? Because Anthony Morano out of this world right now. Blake would have to be perfect from here on out. Stayed green if he wanted to run down this 32. I mean, he is just not bouncing around. He is smooth, keeping that thing straight. Anthony Morano looking like $1 million up here at the Port Royal Speedway. Jeff Barker, we saw him hanging around 10th. Well, welcome to 7th. Jeff Barker now up 7 spots. The Brewerton Beast on the move here. He's got a ways to tank to run down Anthony Morano. We have seen that gap diminish. It is down to 8 tenths. Rick Main, can he get another 1/10 back here through 3 and 4? The answer is no. If anything, Anthony Morano opens up the gap a little bit. 8.2 as we enter 1. Rick Main trying to storm off at 2. But it's kind of stalled out here. Anthony Morano back to normal, feeling good, but he slips up in the middle of 3 and 4. Right as Rick Main gets in the outside wall. And oh man, Rick Main maybe sealing his own fate here at the Port Royal Speedway. Anthony Morano on the top through 3 and 4. 2 sticks in the air, 2 laps left to play. Blake Chapman back here all alone. Interesting to say the least. I mean, Anthony had a 2-second lead. Clearly, maybe, just playing nice. Didn't want to get caught up in anything. And was enough to bring it home. But let's see if Blake Chapman can find his way back up into the waiting room. We'll try to get a word here with the driver of that 20 machine. We'll pull him back up here. Blake, well, I know it's not the spot you're, normally accustomed to when we get in these 360s, but man, it was a racer's racetrack tonight, dude. It seemed like if you could get it to stick up high, you could do it, but man, it was risk reward.
Yeah, definitely not my style of track, I would say. I like a track where you can actually move around and don't have to be up on the cushion the
If you're going to have a bad race, you want that bad finish to be a third.
You got to get right up next to the wall. So even running low here on the bottom line's really working. You got to get right up next to that inside wall. So that can be dangerous too. But you just got to get enough laps here and get comfortable with it, and eventually, you can keep getting better. And like I said, just a little disappointed in the track tonight, especially because I know we've run here before and it's been really racy. So hopefully the next time it'll be a little bit better.
Yeah, at the end of the day, though, man, if you're going to have a bad race, you want that bad finish to be a third-place finish. That's what brings you home championships. So, though it's not the track and maybe the car feel you wanted tonight, a podium's a big deal. Congratulations, Blake. Who you want to thank, bud?
Yeah, I got to thank everybody for watching, the whole family. I got to thank Terry and all the guys down at KSR.
Just kidding, Metcalf. I love you, baby. Metcalf Cinematography, not gonna forget it this week either. Highline Cinematography, all the guys at Highline or Hinkle Homes, Obi-Wan Racing, Slideways, JRB Designs. We're partnered with him. He's wrapping our cars for all the guys. They look great, and of course, Beer Line over at RTV.
Well, hey, man, if we're ever doing a big event at Knoxville again and you need some help qualifying, just shoot me a message, all right?
Hey, I need help qualifying week in and week out in every car, even these, man.
Dude, I was so
drive
shocked.
me nuts.
I was so shocked when I put that time down. You saw how well I did the rest of the race, so that you saw the luck there. But man, that felt good. Well, hey,
yeah,
go ahead.
Those
Rick,
guys, they didn't know that was you. I was like, Shaggy's on the pole. What the heck is going on here?
Yeah, it was then Dean and them, I was hanging out with them and they told me there was going to be an invert and I was like, well, figures. By the time I get the pole, there's a damn invert, like I couldn't have done that if I wanted to. But hey, man, Rick, that was a lot of fun the other night and looked like you had some fun here tonight. So great run. Can't wait to talk to you again, brother.
Thanks, brother.
And now we bring up. You'd think I'd remember that the 80 millionth time, and I still talk through it. I remembered it after the modifieds. He caught me slipping here. But Anthony, man, good run tonight. You got to that top shelf, man, and you just let it eat. But unlike the guys behind you, I didn't see you get into that wall one dang time. How do you rip that outside, man, and be that consistent?
I got it once in 3, but otherwise, just somehow managed to keep it off there. A lot of feathering of the throttle, but yeah, it was pretty gnarly up there, especially in 3. It was getting really, really little slick and a lot of bumps up there, so it wasn't easy, that's for sure.
Now, I'm not used to you guys doing this. I'm honest. I kind of failed you on this. I was watching the battle in the middle of the pack, and I'm seeing it now that it's kind of slowed down. I mean, Rick reeled you in when you caught up the lap traffic. Dude, that's something we're not really used to, you know, good long green flag run, eating up on traffic. I mean, what's going through your head here coming up on these guys? Because, you know, clearly they're going to try to stay out of your way, but you know the deal, man. They're trying to run their own race, so you got to be careful. What's that like trying to pick your way through lap cars?
Yeah, big hats off to everyone there. That was, they were racing. The first group I came upon was a 4-car battle going on, and they, left me the top. So, greatly appreciate it from all of them. But yeah, it was a little nerve wracking. I'm sitting there, I was starting to slow down a little bit, and I didn't really want to get too involved with that. I looked at my relatives, so I had about 2 seconds back to Rick and Blake there, so I thought I'd be safe for a little bit, and then I saw Rick was catching up pretty quick. I was like, all right, I guess I got to go for it. I was just actually talking to Rick in the waiting room there. He's like, he got the wall and bicycled it a little bit in 3, and that's what sealed the deal for it. But yeah, it was I thought he was gonna get me there, but yeah, it was definitely a nerve-wracking time there. Car, I only run these once a week maybe, and then catch up to lap traffic when the track was real slick and everything was a little bit of a nerve-wracking situation.
Yeah, man, and you know that I caught that lap that you're talking about when Rick got in the outside wall, and it looked like you actually kind of fumbled a little bit coming out at 4. It seemed like you maybe went a little lower than you'd like to, got loose, but hey, man, his mistake a lot bigger than yours, and you're able to hold on to bring home your second checkered flag of the night. Hell of a run, man, and before you do your thank yous, you can do them right after. I mean, is there something special about this place you like? Because, I mean, to come in here and clean up two totally different cars, it seems like you might like this place a little bit.
I do like Port Royal, which is weird because it's a topside track, and well, I don't do the topside, but yeah, it's just get the car up in the fluff and let it do its thing is pretty much all it comes down to in the tracks like that. So and I'm sure Blake was running down around the bottom somewheres or another because that's what Blake does. But I was just pretty much I wasn't going to abandon the top for nothing, just keep it up there and hope I can pull something out, and it worked out.
Yeah, he definitely tried that bottom, but it wasn't going to go for him tonight, and he had to go up to the top, and he just could not hit it the way you and Rick could. That's for sure, man. But you were on your own level. Hell of a win tonight. Congratulations on the sweep, man. Who you want to thank?
I gotta thank my wife Sherry, the boys at FTM, Super Air Car, Swan Speed Shop, High Mom Lens, DJ Sim Shop, Vertex Graphics, Extra Installation, Casper Flagstone, Shaggy TV, Flatline Racing Bodies for sponsoring the division, Shaggy for doing a broadcast, and everyone behind the scenes here at Coast to Coast.
Well, hey, hell of a run, man. Can't wait to talk to you again. Well, actually, hopefully I talk to you tomorrow, man. I don't know if you guys know that, but I'm doing it tomorrow. Adam's away, so I'll talk to you guys tomorrow, hopefully, brother.
I hope so. Hope I do a little bit better than I did last week in the modifieds.
All right, Anthony, go get him. Hey, where are we at tomorrow? Do you know?
I want to say Lanier, which is unfortunate for me. So
okay, we'll go with that. I'm going to use that. All right. Hey, great run, Anthony. Hopefully I talk to you tomorrow, bud.
Thanks a lot, buddy.
Anthony Morano sweeps the night here for your Flatline Racing Bodies. Hometown heroes at the Port Royal Speedway. And, well, if I'm wrong, we blame Anthony. You heard him say he thinks that we're at Lanier tomorrow, so I'm going to use that as gold. I trust Anthony. I'll see you back on the Coast to Coast Racing Network tomorrow night here for a little bit of Thursday night Thunder action. Now, the difference, I actually do series now at 9 o'clock. So I told him I'll fill in, but the boys got to behave. I got to bail at 8:55. So there will be no pro late models, but we are going to do the 358s and the small blocks tomorrow night on the Coast to Coast Racing Network broadcasted. So make sure you tune in. I'm Zach Chapman with Shaggy TV saying so long, and you have yourself a good evening.